Hey there, mudroomers. It's Carmen here, and today I wanted to come in and talk to you guys about one of our new stoneware glazes from our 2021 stoneware glaze release. This is Rainforest. So to begin, I want to go over just some stuff on the label here. We actually redesigned all of our labels, so moving forward, these are going to be the labels of glazes going out into the market. We're relabeling all of our old glazes, so this will kind of be the format of all of our labels moving forward. So here we've got a lovely image, the glaze itself, the name and number. We have the cone 5 to 10 firing range. And then here is going to be, this is the spot here. So here we have our ACMI standing, which this is in regards to the wet glaze. So a CL label means that elementary grade kids should not be handling this wet glaze. So otherwise, it doesn't really affect anyone aside from school-age children. So that's what that label is. And then we have our dinnerware safe. So this glaze is not recommended for dinnerware due to its surface durability. So if this is exposed to highly acidic substances for a period of time, the surface can begin to degrade. And so keep that in mind when you're using this glaze as well. And then here is where you're going to find the lot number, and that's what you're going to really need if you're doing any troubleshooting and reporting any technical questions. You're going to want to have this lot number. That'll be one of the first things that we ask you for, so that we can kind of find that lot and troubleshoot it ourselves in-house as well. And then here on this side of the label, we've got our cone 6 results, cone 10 results, basic application instructions, the dry glaze recommendation, because we do make all of these in dry bags in addition to the brushing pints, and then any suggestions and tips. So this glaze in particular is very mobile, particularly in combination, so definitely be sure to do testing with that. And then this glaze typically has a matte finish unless it's really applied really heavily. So we recommend firing our matte glazes to cone 6 to produce a true satin matte finish. So if you go a little bit lower with less heat work, you're going to have a bit of a drier finish. And some more suggestions and tips here. Spray apply application, and then here's where it says not recommended for dinnerware due to surface durability. So if you're questioning why we mark anything as not dinnerware safe, it'll be in the safety section. And then this is the warning that kind of goes along with the CL label. So don't swallow the glaze, particularly because of the soluble copper. And it is mostly focused on the children, youngest kids for that. So that kind of goes over just like general label information of this glaze. So this is what our new glazes will look like. And next we can go through these sample tiles that I have here. So first we'll just go through just basic cone 6 firing. We have 1, 2, and 3 coats. As you can see, it does break brown over texture, and then when it starts to pool, it does become a darker green, and we did get a hint of that gloss right here. But typically it'll be a matte glaze unless you have a lot of texture for it to pool around, or you're really laying that glaze on. You'll start getting this glossy, more saturated color. So we've got a nice matte color, and with lighter application it's more of a brown variation. And here we have it on a flat surface. So this glaze really showcases texture really well, as you can see here. And then on a flat surface, it's going to be just a nice smooth color. And the glaze, because it is a bit mobile, it's going to start kind of pooling around the bottom here. And that's where you get more saturation and also a buildup of some gloss color. So that's just our standard cone 6 firing on a white stoneware clay. And here we have it at cone 5, just for comparison. I know we have a lot of cone 5 people in here, so we kind of want to showcase it there. It does look like we did get a bit more buildup in the texture on this cone 5. As you can see, there's the gloss there. This finish is a bit drier than this one, nothing extreme that you can't see. There's still a bit of a sheen to the finish, but it does feel, this one does feel a lot smoother than this guy here. So we have our build up here. The color doesn't really change that much between firing temperatures, and then on the back you almost really can't even tell a difference between the two. But again, like I said, this does feel a bit drier than this does, simply just because this one has a little bit more heat work. So next we'll go ahead and talk about this glaze's performance with Flux. Here I have it at cone 6 with Flux. So on this side I have 2 coats of light Flux, underneath 3 coats of 185, and on this side I have 2 coats of dark Flux, underneath 3 coats of 185. And due to the mobile nature of this glaze, I did anticipate the movement, so I did reseed my coats. As you can kind of see here, I only have 1 coat all the way down to the bottom. The second coat I brought about down to here, and the third coat I only did here. And even with that, we did have a decent amount of movement. So you can see the color changes, and even the finish shifts that happen are really interesting. And this is still a nice, soft finish here because we were doing cone 6. And then on the back here, there's a little bit less variation because we don't have these this texture for the product to pool in, so this is going to be a lot smoother. So if you don't have texture on your piece, I might anticipate a nice fluid flow and then maybe some pooling around the bottom. So here we have the Flux over 185. So 2 coats, just like the other side. And I did reseed the coats on this side as well. Again, note that color shift. And I would imagine a similar finish shift would happen if there was a little bit more texture on this side. And then we actually have cone 10 here. So this is our cone 10 reduction results here. And actually we've had quite a variety of results in a cone 10 reduction, as you might anticipate, but just to kind of showcase another result that we had, here's 2 different cone 10 reduction firings. So definitely do a little bit of experimenting. Make sure you use your test tiles to make sure you know what this will look like in your firing environment. Just like we always say, your hand, the firing environment, clay body will all make a difference, so always be sure to do some testing. So again, there's 3 coats. Both of these are 3 coats. Cone 10 reduction. It's pretty dry, a little bit more dry of a finish as well. So it'd be good for sculptural work, a nice texture effect here. And then here we have our cone 10 with Flux. So on the back here, I did it similar to how I did this tile, reseeding the coats, applying, and this has the Flux over 185. So it kind of takes it over. I love this development that happens here, the blooming and all that. It's very, very interesting, and the nice metallic finish with some green popping through. So there's our cone 10 results, and here we can have a little comparison for how it is at cone 6. So next I want to go over Rainforest on a couple of different clay bodies. This glaze was a little bit touchy when we did apply it to other clays, so I kind of want to talk about that. Here we have it on a speckled white clay body. So the speckles come through, we still have some nice green, that beautiful gloss variation that happens where it's nice and heavy. This was fired to a cone 6 with a slow cool. We found that that was really helpful to alleviate pinholing on the surface of the glaze. And here we have it on a speckled brown clay body. So you can see here the pinholes kind of happen where it's a little bit heavier. This also was flat fired to cone 6 with a slow cool, but it did not quite alleviate all of the pinholes. I would anticipate that perhaps if we had layered a different glaze on the other side, that might be helpful, or leaving the other side open, but this one might be something that you need to experiment a little bit with to get it to work if you're using a dark or a brown and speckled clay body. And then here we have it on a dark brown clay body. This was also fired to cone 6 with a slow cool. We don't have any pinholing, but the brown does seem to eat up a lot of the pigment, aside from where it's really built up nice and heavy, but it does have a very nice smooth finish here. And next I kind of want to talk about Rainforest in combination. So here we have kind of our initial combo tiles here. This, we have it layered over top of some crystal glazes. This is over Aurora Green. And these are all fired flat. So this is kind of nuanced because it'll change a lot when you fire it vertically. Here we have Rainforest over Indigo Rain. And with these combos, we're applying 2 coats of each glaze. We've got Rainforest over Winterwood. It's kind of interesting how the 2 matte glazes make a gloss glaze. So you can't really anticipate the finish in combination with this glaze, honestly. It's kind of a wild card when it comes to that. And then here we have Rainforest over Honeycomb. And these are all matte glazes, so you get a little more stiff and you have this crystal development happening. And that could just be because it's on a flat surface too, so make sure you do some testing. And here I have some samples of it over top of a little bit more dynamic glaze. So here we have Raspberry Mist. This is over Dunes, and here we have it over Tiger's Eye. You can kind of see this like weird blotchy variation that happens when it's fired flat, and that will showcase itself like this on a vertical surface. So here, this is Celadon Bloom over 185. So we do have our crystals that are blooming here, but kind of characteristic of this glazing combination that you can kind of see here where it's all blotchy is going to be this variation in the movement that happens. So similar to kind of like an ash glaze a little bit, how you would have kind of that variety of drips and everything that happen down it. You can kind of see it here more so. These crystals are a bit distracting from it, but you can kind of see that variation that happens here. This is super shiny, so I want to make sure you guys can see it okay. So that's kind of what you can expect when you're using this glaze in combination. And here's a couple more just for fun, because we did test these over top of every other glaze in our Stoneware Glaze line. So here we've got Rainforest over Wintergreen, Rainforest over our dark green gloss. I like that color a lot. Adds some variation to the gloss. We've got Rainforest over Tea Dust. Again, the 2 mattes making the gloss here. And then this is Rainforest over Lava Rock. That beautiful crystals that happen is kind of characteristic of using lava rock in combination. I love that contrast with the matte crystal development and the glossy background there. And here we have it over Capri Blue. This is a beautifully nice smooth matte, and these really mesh together really well. So this is an instance where 2 matte glazes stayed matte. And then here we have it over Leathers. So that'll be the last combo I kind of go over with you guys. Keep your eyes peeled to see some of our favorites here in our combo sheets coming up in the future. So that pretty much covers it for everything that we wanted to cover with Rainforest. So stay tuned for future glaze profiles of the rest of our 2021 Stoneware Glaze release. Always be sure to check out our new website. It's an amazing resource. We have a searchable glaze combo gallery as well as a searchable distributor page in which you can locate where you can purchase our products. Coming up very soon, keep your eyes peeled for our 2021 Stoneware Glaze Kit, which will be available through the online store on our website. And if you need it shipped internationally, make sure to contact your closest Mako distributor to make sure they get those in and you get your hands on them. So thanks so much for tuning in today, guys. We really appreciate your time. And as always, make it Mako.